Victor assembled his warband into a crescent formation, their silhouettes etched against the crumbling backdrop of Mordheim.
Today we are playing a game of Mordheim, featuring the Witch Hunter warband, the Hammers of Heresy, against the Undead warband, the Red Road. We already set up the buildings on the table, and the scenario we rolled for is Breakthrough. In this scenario, the Undead warband, having the lower team rating, will start the movement phase. However, the Witch Hunters rolled higher, so they got to deploy first on the map.
Each man, save for the young Ulrich, had seen countless skirmishes under Victor's command, their trust in him rivaled only by their devotion to Sigmar. But this foray was different. They had delved deeper into the city's heart than ever before, their relentless pursuit of heretics and weird stones driving them into the unknown. In Victor, fear of mortal men was non-existent. The creatures he had faced in battle were often far from human, festering abominations, brutish orcs and entities of even darker natures. Yet amidst the decay and shadows of Mordheim, a new chill had taken hold, a frigid whisper clawing at the nape of his neck. It intensified when Ulrich returned with dire news. The undead, whose soulless husks were marching directly towards them. Victor's blood ran cold at the mention of the undead, for they were marionettes dancing to the macabre will of vampires. And of all the horrors that lurked in the dark corners of the world, vampires invoked a dread within Victor unlike any other. Steadfast, he knew he must fortify not only his resolve, but also that of his men. For in the grand scheme of their holy crusade, the eradication of vampires was paramount, a purification of the earth, a cleansing fire to scorch the unholy from existence.
The Undead warband has now made their first move. The Duchess, a vampire, is accompanied by two dregs, Batut and Saban. Both are dressed in heavy armor and helmets and shields. Then we see two zombies, far advanced in the decomposition process, with only skulls remaining. They are aptly named the Skulls. Following them, two more zombies climb up the ruins towards the Witch Hunters. These are fresher corpses, both reaching out eagerly for the prey. Hence, they are called Hands. Next, we see spot a ghoul, Afi, who is a bit smarter and has hidden himself behind the ruins, a short distance behind the zombies. Finally, there's the Dreg Solm and the Necromancer Cora, sneaking alongside a collapsed barn. At this very moment, it dawned on me that the objective of the breakthrough mission is simply to get two members to the edge of the board to win. I realized that I had chosen the wrong strategy when I was deploying my warband, so it was time to start moving. The flagellant sightless crow rushed towards the small plank bridge leading down to the street, aiming to intercept the zombies. Nathaniel Blight, also flagellant, positioned himself in front of the witch hunters to protect them from the zombies approaching over the bridge. Captain Victor Hellbane sprinted across the wooden bridge towards Greg and the Necromancer, accompanied by Ulrich Hallowgaze and Matthias Thorn, the priest. The three witch hunters readied themselves to fire the crossbow bolts. The first to shoot is Titus Hexcleaver. He needs a 4 or higher on the dice to hit, and he needs a 3 or higher to cause damage. And he succeeds. A bolt flies through the air and hits the zombie in the chest. Had this been a human or another monster, a 5 on the dice would have stunned it. But since it's a zombie, which can't be stunned, it's knocked down instead. Now it's Oswald the Shadowhunter's turn to shoot, but he misses. Then Gabriel Voss takes his shot. He hits, but he doesn't cause any damage. And with that, the first round comes to an end.
As the looming threat intensified, Victor made a tactical decision to lead his men to higher ground, seeking the advantage of a vantage point for their crossbows. He peered out over the ruins, a chill coursing down his spine as he saw the first of the undead shambling slowly towards them. They had scattered amongst the ruins, and he was acutely aware that he would need to divide his group to neutralize the threat effectively. Silas Crow dashed towards the staircase leading down, intent on intercepting the zombies advancing from one side. Meanwhile, Victor, accompanied by Ulrich and priest Matthias, moved to confront a Dreg and a Necromancer he had spotted sneaking up on their flank. The three witch hunters unleashed a volley from their crossbows at two approaching zombies. But only one bolt struck true, halting one of the undead creatures momentarily. Out of the corner of his eye, Victor caught a fleeting glimpse of a vampire gliding between the ruins below, a sinister shadow amidst the desolation. The sight sent a shiver of anticipation and dread through him, heightening the senses and steeling his resolve for the confrontation that lay ahead.
We are now in round 2 and the Undead has just moved. We can see the vampire, the Duchess, she has moved up down the alley, and behind her the two dregs, they are following, but they are slow because they are using heavy armor. And we have the skulls, they are moving down the street, and up on the walkway the two zombies are approaching or they're not running, but they are going slowly against the witch hunters, and behind them the ghoul has come up and he's taking cover behind the zombies so he won't be shot from the witch hunters. And finally the necromancer and another dreg with a heavy armor, shield and a spear, or not a spear but a club, has walked up and they are going to shoot on Victor Hellbane. Cora, the necromancer, is now going to cast the spell of doom. He needs 9 but gets 4, so Ulrich is still going strong. We are now in phase 2 and 2 of the witch hunters are going to shoot on the dregs, while Nathaniel Blight, the flagellant, is trying to run and intercept the vampire and the dregs. On the bridge we have Ulrich, who's trying to jump down, and he is going to be followed by Matthias Thorn, the priest, and they both are going to run into the necromancer and the other dreg. Victor Hellbane, the captain, is going to shoot arrow straight at the necromancer, and on the bridge Samuel Crow is running into the zombies and trying to take them out. The young and eager Ulrich is going to see if he's managed to jump down. He needs a 3 or less on a dice, and he gets a 4, so he will take some wounds falling down the bridge instead of jumping. And he gets a strength 1 and strength 2 hit, and let's see if he gets stunned or knocked down, or maybe taken out of action. The first was a strength 1 hit, then he needs a 6 on the dice to the wound, not a wound, and the other was a 2, and that needs 5 or more, and another 4, so Ulrich is going strong. Now the priest Matthias Thorn is going to see if he gets injured. He needs to hit below his initiative, and that's on 3, so 3 or less. That's a 5, and he also gets a wound. And he got 2 strength 2 hits or wounds, so he needs less 5 or more, and he will get wound. Whew. Luckily Matthias Thorn also managed to just fall down and get up again. Now we will see if the charge from Nathaniel Blight against the zombies will go through. He needs under 10 on his leadership roll, and that went well. He is charging in. Now it's Gabriel Voss who is going to shoot his crossbow against Cora, the necromancer. He has a BS on 3, so he needs 4 or more on the dice to hit. And it was a 6, so he hits. Now we're going to see if he wounds, and it's a crossbow, so that has a strength 4 against the toughness 3 on the necromancer, so he needs 3 or more to wound. And it was a 2. This was not the plan that I had. The dice are not rolling my way this game. Now the other 2 shadow or witch hunters, Oswald the Shadow Hunter and Titus Hexcleaver, is going to shoot on the dregs that are following the vampire. They both use crossbows with strength 4, and they need 3 on the dice to hit, and both fail. And now I'm also starting to curse a lot in the game. Now it's Victor Hellbane, the captain's turn to fire his or shoot his bow against the necromancer Cora, and he has a BS on 4, so he needs 3 on the dice, and he hits, and he needs 4 or more on the dice to hit, and he doesn't hit. Once again, the dice are not rolling my way. Now it's Silas Crow's turn to see if he's going to hit the zombie. He has a VS on 3 and the zombie has a VS on 2, so he needs 3 or more on the dice to hit. And he will hit the zombie, and he got 3. And now the fun part comes here. He is wielding a 2-ounce weapon, and the 2-ounce weapon gives him an additional 2 to his strength. And his strength is 4. So that means that he needs 2 or more on the dice to hit. Or to wound. And he got a critical hit. And now we're going to roll the dice to see what's happening. And he gets 2 wounds. And he gets taken out of action. So the first character of this game is out of the game.
As Victor stepped onto the narrow wooden bridge, hastily erected between 2 houses, the necromancer and one of the vampire's acolytes emerged in the street below. Too late, he noticed the necromancer weaving a spell and hurling it towards him. A chilling sensation rippled through his body, but nothing more. He saw the necromancer's disappointment as the realization dawned that his spell had failed. At the same moment, both Ulrich and the priest leapt from the bridge to engage the enemy. However, the height from which they fell disrupted their balance upon landing, and they tumbled to the ground in a heap. Victor raised his bow and loosed a bolt that narrowly missed the necromancer. On the other side, the witch hunters fired at the zombies in the street below, but their shots all went astray. Nathaniel Blight, the flagellant, charged down the ladder to cut off their escape. Meanwhile, Silas Crow, the other flagellant, barreled into 2 zombies and a ghoul that were converging on them. With a tremendous force, he swung his 2-handed club, shattering the skull of the nearest zombie. Undead were now swarming everywhere, and Victor realized that escaping this ordeal alive would require nothing short of a miracle.
We are now in the next round, and this here is the round where the vampires just rush out of the game and staying safe until she's come back in to fight some more another day. That's the shitty with this game. It's breakthrough, so the undead just need to get their people out. On the bridge, the ghoul has charged into combat, and the zombies, they are wanting to run out as well, or maybe they are going to charge the flagland or go up the ladder, we don't know. And here the Dreg has run into Ulrich, and there's going to be a fist fight there, and the necromancer is going to cast a spell of doom on the priest. So it's going to be an exciting round. First we see the necromancer cast the spell of doom. He needs 6 or more, and he got a 9, so that's a spell that are going to be thrown at the priest Matthias Thorn. Now we're going to see if Matthias Thorn is going to make the save. He needs 3 or less on the dice. And he's safe, so the spell didn't go through. Now the Dreg that has run into Ulrich are going to see if he can strike him with his mace. He needs 3 or more, and he gets a 6, so that's a hit. Now we're going to see if he wounds, and he needs 4 or more on the dice to wound, and he didn't wound, so Ulrich is going strong or safe this game. But now we are going to see if Ulrich is going to hit him back. He has 2 weapons and a knife and an axe, and he hits on both of them. He needed 4 to hit, so 2 hits there. And now I'm going to see if he wounds. He needs 4 or more, but he didn't hit. Now we're going to see the fight between the Ghoul and Silas Crow, the Flaglant. He needs 10 or less on the dice to resist the fear test from the Ghoul, and that went well. And he needs, the Ghoul needs 4 or more on the dice to hit, and he hits on one of them, and he needs 5 to hit or to wound, but the Flaglant is going strong, going to hit back, and that's going to be exciting to see because he's wielding a two-handed weapon. And he are going to strike the zombie because the zombie is going to strike after Silas because the zombie, and he needed 2 to hit and he got a 6, so he hits and he wounds on 2 or less or 2 or more, and he wounds. And now we are going to see what will happen with the wound. Is he going to be taken out of action? And he needs at least 6 to be taken out of action. But you get 4, so that means that the zombie is actually going to be stunned, but since it's a zombie, it's getting knocked down. Then it's the Hammers of Heresy turn, and first Nathaniel Blight run into the 2 dregs, and it's going to be a fight. And over here we can see the witch hunters, they are going to fire on the zombies. 2 of them are going to fire on the zombies on the stairs. And Silas Crow is going to hit the zombie that is knocked down. And over here we can see the priest, Matthias Thorn, has run into close combat with the Dreg. And he's now fighting against Ulrich and Matthias Thorn. And we have the captain, and we have to turn him around. And he's going to shoot on the necromancer. So we hope this turn here is going to be a success for the Hammers of Heresy. First it's the shooting phase, and Victor, the captain, is going to shoot on the necromancer. He needs 3 or more on the dice. And he got 5 on the dice, so he hits. And he needs a 4 on the dice to wound. So let's see. Now, not a wound on the Victor Hellbane, the captain of the Witch Hunters. But then it's the Witch Hunter, Gabber Voss, is shooting with a crossbow. He needs 4 or more on the dice to hit. No, he needs 5 or more to hit. And he hits, and he wounds on 3 or more. He got a wound, and we have to see what's happened. Let him take him out. But no, he is stunned, so he's down for this turn. Then it's the 2 witch hunters that's left, who's going to shoot on the zombies on the stairs. And the first is Titus Hexcleaver. He needs 4 or more on the dice to hit. And he got the 5, so he hits. He needs 3 or more to wound. And he doesn't wound. It's the next one, Oswald Shadowhunter's turn to shoot. He hits also with the 5. Needs 3 or more to wound. And he got a theory, he got a wound. So let's see what happens with the zombie. Oh, he only gets knocked down. Then there's a fight between Matthias Thorn, the priest, and the Dreg. And Matthias Thorn needs 3 or more to hit. So he should be able to hit the Dreg. And he gets a hit. Now it's about to see if he can wound. He needs 4 or more on the dice to wound. And he get the wound. And now the Dreg needs to take an armor save because he has heavy armor. And he needs a 6, and of course he get a 6. Then it's Ulrich's turn to hit the Dreg. And he has 2 weapons, so he needs, or he uses an axe he uses an axe and a knife. And he needs 2 4s to hit. And the axe hits. I need 4 or more to wound. But he doesn't wound. So the fight... Oh, the Dreg was about to hit back on Ulrich, but he missed. So then the fight between Ulrich and the priest and the Dreg is over. Then it's a fight with the Flaglant, Nathaniel Blight, who runs into the 2 Dregs to try to intercept them from running out of the game. But since he are wielding a two-handed weapon, he gets to hit last in the fight. So the dregs are hitting first, and he got 6. So he hits Nathaniel Blight, and needs 5 more to hit, and he hits Nathaniel Blight. So let's see what's going to happen with Nathaniel Blight. And Nathaniel Blight gets knocked down. But there are 2 dregs, and now the second dreg is trying to hit Nathaniel, and if he hits, he will automatically take Nathaniel Blight out of the action. Ooh, and that's it for Nathaniel Blight for this game. He is taken out of action. Now it's Silas Crow, the Flagelant's turn, to see if he can hit the zombie that is knocked down. And he needs a 2 on the dice to take him out of action. And Silas Crow, the Flagelant, takes another zombie out. So that's 2 for Silas Crow. Now the ghoul Affy is going to see if he can hit Silas Crow back. He has 2 attacks and needs 4 or more to hit, and he got a hit. Now let's see if he wounds, but Silas has toughness on 4, so he needs 5 or more on the dice, and he doesn't get him out of the game. So Silas Crow is still going strong. And for the last round, the dregs are just moving out of the battlefield, so the Undead wins this game, but the Hammers of Heresy are coming back strong.
Victor heard the clamour of his men battling all around him. Glancing over his shoulder to check on the others, he caught another glimpse of the vampire. To his great surprise, she had abandoned her minions and was fleeing. Heartened by this turn of events, he called out to his men, spurring them on in the fight. Below him, he saw one of the dregs charge at Ulrich, missing wildly with a swing of its club. The necromancer hurled another spell, this time at Matthias, but it was clear that Sigmar's strength coursed through the priest, rendering the curse ineffective. Both Ulrich and Matthias struck at the dreg, but his heavy armour blunted the blows. Suddenly, a bolt whistled through the air, striking the necromancer in the shoulder and spinning him to the ground. Victor also heard the battle cry of Nathaniel Blight, and realized with a chill that Nathaniel had engaged the dregs following the vampire. Sounds of fierce combat erupted, and a cold dread crept down Victor's spine as he realized Nathaniel had been felled. Twisting for a better view, Victor saw Silas Crow, who had already dispatched a zombie, now bring his 2-handed mace crashing down on another. The zombie stood no chance, crushed under the massive club. Now only a ghoul remained, lunging ferociously at Silas, who somehow managed to keep it at arm's length. Victor watched, astonished, as he and his men seemed to be turning the tide in their favour. But then a piercing shriek tore through the air, so intense he felt the urge to cover his ears. His men faltered under the shriek's power, and in the ensuing confusion, all the undead retreated into the ruins and disappeared from sight.
So the game has ended and Undead won, but we are going to see what will happen to Sam or to Nathaniel Blight, the Flagelant that got taken out of action. And a 1 on a 2 on the dice, or a 1, yeah, he will be taken out. But he lives to see another day. Now it's the zombies' turn, both taken out by Silas Crow. We see what will happen to them. 1 or 2 they will be taken out, or be killed permanently. And one of them gets killed and are out of the Undead warband. So that's it for this time, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next battle report. So please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out.
They had to carry Nathaniel out of the ruins. Despite his grave injuries, a flagellant like him always seemed bizarrely ready for the next battle. The undead had vanished as if by magic. After that infernal shrieking, they dissipated like mist in the morning sun. Victor was uncertain whether to be relieved or not. His earthly duty was to exterminate all heretics, and the undead were a prime target. Yet he was acutely aware of the danger a vampire posed. She could have easily torn his men apart. Victor led them across a small square dominated by a stone well. He cautioned everyone to stay away, but Titus couldn't resist peering into its depths. His shout that he could see a small chest at the bottom ignited curiosity among the others. They gathered around as Titus secured a hemp rope around his waist and allowed the others to lower him down. Victor watched with an irritated gaze. Suddenly, Silas slipped in a mud puddle, and they heard the rope and Titus descend rapidly until a splash echoed from below. Frantic sounds of struggling indicated that Titus had survived the fall, and the others hurried to pull him back up. Gasping, Titus emerged, coughing up water, or rather a slimy green substance that once might have been water. Back at the tavern they frequented between hunts, Titus's cough worsened. Matthias examined him and assured Victor that he would recover but would need bed rest, likely missing their next venture. Victor took a deep swig from the wine glass in his hand. Well, there would always be a time after the next. The earth needed purging, and their mission was far from over.